how long gone? What's up, Jason?
I'm just doing some prep work right now for tonight's Glendale Hollywood party. In about 6.5 minutes, I'm going to have to pause really quick and move some hard-boiled eggs into a bowl of ice water. It'll just be 30 seconds, and I'll be right back on here. So,
just quickly, what is that? Because hard-boiled eggs are disgusting, so I'd love to know what you're doing with those.
I'm going to make deviled-style eggs, Chris.
Oh, God. This is being at, like, my grandma's house. You going to make me eat mayonnaise, too?
There is mayonnaise in the deviled eggs. I hate to break it to you. There's also... But, let me see if I can bring you back. There will be paprika. Yeah. Okay. Is that enough, or I'm going to need more?
Deviled eggs are one of the grossest foods out for me. Like, I couldn't... It's everything I hate in one. Not everything I hate. That would be too much for one plate of food, obviously.
I'm gonna top these eggs though, Chris, with some caviar. Does that do anything for you?
I know you want me to like caviar because it's expensive, but caviar does nothing for me. It's just salt. Like, I mean, it's fine and it's cool that you get a little Coke spoon to scoop it with. And I love the high-low combo of, I just got these potato chips. I got some Ruffles at the 7-Eleven, and now we're putting $200 worth of fucking fish eggs on top. Isn't it good?
Is that more offensive? No, I guess maybe offensive is not the right word, but is that more whatever the word for it is, high-low offensive than the David Chang style fried chicken with caviar?
I wasn't familiar with David. I don't know anything about David Chang except that he's annoying. Like, I don't know if he's a good cook. I mean, I like noodles from Momofuku, but I'm any other white person in the East Village who likes noodles from Momofuku. So I'm not, he seems annoying to me, and that I can recognize, but I don't know if his food is good or bad or just dumb.
He is definitely annoying, and he has also got worse as time has gone on.
Me too.
But he got married, he had a kid or two, and then he kind of turned into like suburban dad swag, which is a weird angle for this guy, unfortunately. But I think a while ago he sort of coined or co-opted putting caviar on fried chicken and then serving it with champagne, and it turned into kind of like a meat packing investment bankers to do.
Well, that's the thing with caviar in
urban cuisine role play.
Well, caviar is merely the truffle of the sea, right? Like, you just put it on top of something, you're able to charge a lot more. It doesn't do that much. It's just like kind of fine. No one's that excited about it.
Yeah, I guess so. It is kind of weird. I don't disagree with your stance on caviar because it is very expensive and it doesn't bring a whole ton to the table, and there also is a weird energy around it where because it is so expensive and it is such a small amount that you can never really get that big old, like, you always feel like you have to restrain your serving size, and you have to ration it out, and you feel guilty putting too much on your ruffle, and then at that point it's like, who's having fun here, guys?
Who is this?
I guess you just have to be rich. You have to be able to truly afford caviar.
What about I feel like one of the cooler ways to eat it, and again, I'm not an expert by any means, but a baked potato.
Oh, yeah.
That seems cooler to me than like the high-low chip or the little, what are the little pancakes called? Bellini?
Blini.
B-L-I-N-I, correct?
Yeah, blini is the little small pancake, and then Bellini is
the drink.
Is the champagne with orange juice that you get at Rock Nation brunch.
Oh, no, yeah, the only thing interesting about this entire conversation is the Rock Nation brunch. and if I get invited, which skinny suit from Suit Supply am I copping for $300 to go with the Stacey Adams on the feet?
You know what? I think they've sort of rewritten it. Maybe it might be a little more cozy vibes only, where you can just show up with an essentials sweatsuit and you're kind of stunting. You're looking good.
Oh, I love stunting, baby.
But yeah, other than that, it's just a big cooking day here in Glendale. Welcome to the cookout.
Welcome to the cookout. Let me get a plate. Because you hit Whole Foods early AM. Is that what happened?
I did a very early Whole Foods, and I also visited Ralph's because I had to get some dill and some other stuff. But yeah, early Whole Foods. It was a little It's a little dark going to Whole Foods at like 9 in the morning. I guess it's not that early because you go there at like 5, but you know, to go there to like do your shopping and versus just to go get a smoothie with peanut butter in it.
Yeah, I mean, at that time I go, I usually don't see that many people doing their shopping, but every once in a while, you see a full cart at 7:30. That seems aggressive to me. That's just not, you know what I mean? That's not where my mind's at.
No, unless you're like a professional catering chef or you're like a nanny doing the shopping for the day, and you've got the child in your shopping cart also wearing an essential sweatsuit.
You give me a Manny vibe with the child wearing, because I think essentials would be a great thing for you, because I bet they make it in ball player size.
Which ball are we talking about, Chris?
Basket, foot. I mean, and honestly, I think most balls is who that stuff.
What's your favorite kind of ball? Basket, foot?
I think that's who it's made for, and I think you would look nice with the little Essentials leather patch on the dick. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where they put the logo.
I would normally at this time in the show, I would say, a classic TJ line. Let's see if Santa Claus brings it this year. But unfortunately, Santa has come and go, and I got zero. I got zero essentials. I did get some sweatpants though that I bought for myself.
I saw. Yeah, you were wearing when we recorded IRL. You were wearing your navy blue camber bulletproof sweatpants just in case somebody lets a stray off and TJ gets clipped. The thickness level, is it not?
Was I dressed like Larry Hoover? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you did look like you were about to do some pull-ups in the yard, but that's kind of that you actually do that, so I can't really make a joke about it. But is the fabric of the camber, is it too thick? Is that possible?
It might be a little too heavy duty, because I think it's branded for people who like salt the roads and operate dump trucks.
Yeah, it's a sweatpant version of a Carhartt dungaree double knee.
Yeah. It's for when you work construction, but you demand a little bit more out of your garments.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know if they look cool. I just wonder if my thighs will be sweating just wearing those around.
It is a concern. Is there such a thing as too rough, rugged, and raw dog ready to go for a sweatpant? Because you're walking around, you feel weighted.
Yeah, for a person who doesn't do any manual labor, and I would unfortunately in this case put you in that category because I don't think you're cleaning the gutters with those on.
Oh no,
these are your dress. These are your dress sweats.
These are my dress sweats. These are when
these are
chilling with no makeup on. The period is on day 3, and I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna go to the Americana. I'm gonna get some a hot pretzel, some type of cheesy tots, and then I'm gonna watch in Paris marathon. And I don't even give a what. Hold that thought. I'm gonna move my eggs. Okay, we're back, Chris. You want to know how it went? It went really well.
I had a feeling it might have even been quicker than you promised, which is very impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we want to thank our How Long Gone listeners
for what.
This time of year we're busy, for bearing with us as I'm multitasking. I want to leave it all.
Yeah, bearing with us as we give them 3 episodes a week for absolutely free. Thank you for bearing with us on that while Jason flips his fucking eggs over or whatever he was doing.
Well, we also, we're going to be recording some new ads. You may have already heard it at the beginning of this episode. Who even knows? So that's exciting. We're going to have to put some to rest, and we're going to have to really kind of deliver, because the ads, the old ads, a fan favorite, and they became part of people's lives. I get a lot of tweets and comments and DMs about it. Don't take away the Spotify ad. It's perfect. And I'm like,
perfect. Luckily, when I go in the booth, I don't write anything down. You know what I mean? Jason's got his legal pad and his pen, like Eminem. I'm more like Wash Jay-Z. I go in with my Basquiat hair and I just spit.
Yeah, and you're about as good as Jay-Z at doing ad reads.
Well, okay, if I'm a multi-platinum Grammy award-winning rich old guy, I guess that there could be worse things.
I just set you up for a new game that I want to play, which is what can't Chris complain about? Type of energy, and getting you to compliment Jay-Z I feel like I tricked you almost.
No. Jay-Z is a certified absolute legend. So many hits, classics, groundbreaking artists. He just hasn't been good in 15 years. And that's, I think that we've talked about that. The rap is a very difficult genre to age into. And that's partly our fault, I think. We don't allow it the way honestly, we don't. It's like,
when you say our fault, do you mean you and I personally, or just the general culture?
General culture. I think it's like we're always.
But we had a pretty big hand in it ourselves. So let's
sure, but we're always looking for the new 17-year-old with a machine gun to get us excited. when the reality is like, that some of these guys, I'm not interested in an aging Jay-Z, but is that because I've been conditioned to not like that, or is that because I actually don't like it? Who knows, Jason?
Who knows? And I'm mainly grateful this year that I have clean audio of Chris saying that he's always looking for a new 17-year-old. So
no, don't make this about me. We do have a guest today, Jason. Rax King, maybe the coolest name that we've ever had listed on this podcast.
Seriously, really has a Third Man Records artist name to her.
Rax's new 7 inches out now. It's just guitars. No, but she has a new book called Tacky. That touches on a lot of similar topics to what we talk about here on the show.
All kinds of tacky stuff.
She also has a podcast called Low Culture Boil, and she's written for publications like Glamour, Mel, and lives in Brooklyn, which we of course get into.
The episode is fun if you're a fan of two very important things in our lives. One of them being the Cheesecake Factory for me, and then the band Creed for Chris. We really get wide open about both of those subjects, and I actually just picked up some Cheesecake Factory brown bread mini nibblers, and those will sneak preview for you tonight, Chris, at the How Long Gone holiday party. They'll be around with a little butter. You can smear it on there, Chris.
Oh wow, thanks for that. Okay, let's talk to Rax so you can stop talking about mediocre food for once.
Bye.
Yeah, we appreciate when anybody comes to the table with elite podcaster gear, because we've dealt with a lot of, like Jason said, that there's a lot of people that do this all the time, but still haven't invested the $50 into the gear, which is mind-boggling.
They have podcasts that are way bigger than both of our podcasts combined, and make a lot more money. And record it in a well on a Motorola Razr, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, I kind of have to do it this way because I live on the corner where all the ambulances drive by with their sirens on 24 hours a day. So my first couple episodes of my podcast before I had my shit, it wasn't even me talking. It was just like ambulances with my voice kind of superimposed in places.
Okay, is that because you live next to a hospital, or are you in like gang territory?
Well, I do live near a hospital, but I think it's been more lately, and I think that it's COVID coming back to bite us in the ass again. Yeah.
The COVID ambulance chasers going in and out of your block.
Yes,
oh my
it is.
God!
Damn, man.
What doesn't this thing touch? You know what I'm saying? We can't even have we can't even podcast without this shit getting in the way. This is bullshit.
Come for the elderly people, but not my podcast.
Yeah,
not my podcast.
Exactly. Leave us alone. Look, people are going to die. People are going to die, and that's fine. But my content has to be created. I can't.
It has to be crystalline. Like, it has to sound perfect.
I'm a fellow gear slut as well, so it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm not much of an audio cat, and that kind of bothers Jason a little bit because sometimes my audio that I sent him is not up to his quality standards.
Yeah.
And I really try to care, you know what I mean? But I just
What does that
can't.
mean? I try to care. That's not I really care. It's you attempt to care. What does that mean exactly?
Well, I appreciate the audio quality and what it requires to get it there, but unfortunately, I'm just not capable of like prioritizing that versus my comfort maybe or something of that nature.
Riddle me this then, Chris. Literally the only thing that you need to make your audio sound better is something that gives you comfort, which is any furniture in your room at all. Anything at all other than a wooden desk and a metal leather chair. A couch, a chair, a sofa, a bed, a rug. The list goes on.
Do you hear what I deal with? This man's attacking not only my audio sensibility, but my design sensibility, which most people would agree is better than his. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know.
I just told you, buy a couch, buy a chair, buy a rug, buy a bed, anything other than...
I'm sitting in a beautiful Eames 3-pad desk chair, vintage, brown leather. And that seems to do the trick for me. It's pretty comfortable. I mean, so far, you know what I mean? We've only been podcasting for 10 minutes.
See, Rax over here, the chair she's sitting on itself is absorbing so much sound. Look at that fuzzy, comfy chair you're on.
Yeah, I don't mean to brag, but I do have a chair, so there's that.
I don't mean to
She's
scum on you
got a
losers,
leg up
but
on you, and is that faux polar bear? What is? I mean, I don't think you're.
I almost said it's real polar bear, but then I was like, not even as a joke, Rax. Not even as a joke. No, this is an IKEA polar bear.
Yeah, something like that would be nice for you, Chris.
My back
Okay,
is covered in sweat right now. That is a significant downside to my setup.
unfortunately, that's the downside. I guess I do prioritize comfort, Jason, but I'll try to make some leaps, in the right direction for you. Cause I don't
bold-faced lie, but on to you, Rax. So are you in LA? Is that right?
No, I live in New York. I live in Chris and I were just talking about my shithole apartment and the great lengths that I go to try and make it not a hovel.
Okay, what is so shitholy about it?
The walls are crumbling. It is
okay.
So structurally, it's not sound. That's something we need to concern with first and foremost.
So people will take a tour of your place and they're like, this place has got some bad bones.
Yeah.
What somebody might say
I'm
about
not
your
convinced
spot.
it has bones. I think the landlord
bones at all.
put up some
No bones
fake
at all.
bullshit and was just like, it's walls, and I can see I'm like looking at a
walls.
real problem wall. Yeah, it's not walls. It is not
The walls
walls.
they're made out of all-purpose flour.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, exactly. So, before I moved in here, I was working at a construction firm at the time, so I had access to the city's database of, what's wrong with this building.
Damn.
And that's how I know that the building is structurally unsound, and I bullied my landlord into giving me cheaper rent because of it, and that was cool. But that
Damn.
decision is biting me in the ass right now.
The karma of extorting your landlord is starting to come back and bite you a little bit.
Yeah, it turns out that, because at the time, I was like, well, this is great. I'm going to get cheaper rent to live in this apartment. And now I'm remembering why I'm getting cheaper rent. Like, oh, it's falling apart.
Sure.
So you're like, I have access to all the shittiest places in the town. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Draw a heart around it like the classified ads.
Yeah, like my landlord's still coming out ahead. He is still charging me money to live in this hovel.
Yeah, any money at all is too much. Well, I want to talk about your construction background. I didn't know you were a blue collar chick like that.
Front of house or back of house?
Yeah, what's the vibe?
Front of house in that analogy. I mean, I worked in the office. I didn't do handwork. I did emails.
You use the mental. Not the physical. Did you watch House of Gucci as an aside?
Yes.
Okay, so you were kind of like...
Yes.
Yeah, I watched the hell out of House of Gucci. I loved it.
So you watched the hell out of House of Gucci, but early on in the film, it shows Lady Gaga working in the construction office, and it's all the Guido guys like catcalling her as she's walking past the cement mixer to this kind of trailer office, but it's very nice, and everyone's wearing fur and smoking in there. So same kind of vibe for you over there?
So yes, but I didn't have the mouthy Italians. I worked for Hasids, so I kind of faked my way into the job. I was like, I'm Jewish, and the lady didn't ask any questions, and then I was not the right kind of Jewish by any stretch.
If a nice Hasidic man were to catcall you, what might it sound like, Rax? Just a little fun role play.
I don't do impressions. I certainly don't do impressions of like the Hasids I used to work with. I will say,
I can't do it. Chris can't do it. You apparently can. So, spread your wings and fly.
You're the only one we have.
I wouldn't get canceled for it, but everybody would groan because I don't do good voices.
Okay.
I will say that one of the guys in my office, it was, again, all Hasidic dudes, and I just kind of mindlessly like went to shake his hand when I met him. And that was obviously a no-go. But then every time he saw me after that, he would do finger guns at me as a little fun workaround,
God
and I
damn
just
it.
love that.
Look, I mean, I assume this is a COVID thing. You're supposed to do like a little elbow bump or a finger gun, but he wouldn't shake your hand at all.
That's like
is this pre-COVID?
Yeah, well before COVID.
Is that just because you're a woman?
Yeah.
They don't touch women that aren't
Okay, got it.
You have to be a wife to get touched.
Yeah.
in any
I didn't
way.
know that.
If you're in for some hot
Yeah,
handshaking action, you got to go straight to the husband. That's
Yeah, we got. I saw this guy's hands, and I just knew I had to marry him. I mean, oh my god, the hands on this guy. It was fucking
Handshakes,
beautiful.
It's powerful, man. It's important. Okay, so you used to work front of house construction. This was in New York as well.
yeah.
Okay. Are you born and raised New York?
No, I'm from DC.
Okay. Okay. I got nothing there.
Wow, you looked like you were trying to like have something to say about that, and then there was just nothing.
Sweet Green is from there. That's about it. You know, near and dear to my heart.
You guys got Minor Threat and Sweet Green, two of my favorite exports. You know.
and Fugazi. I
Yeah,
mean, there's
no, of course.
bad brains, you know.
I probably like Fugazi more than Minor Threat on a listenability scale. You know what I mean? As an adult, I can put on Fugazi and feel good about that.
It aged better. It aged better.
Yeah,
sure.
Minor Threat doesn't really feel appropriate in my BMW X5 going to Whole Foods. You know what I mean?
But Fugazi does.
But Fugazi does. Fugazi does.
Ian MacKay is a super nice guy, actually. He like came to one of my shows once because like if you live in DC,
He's around
and play music. Yeah, he just goes to everything. So it felt incredibly cool for me, but he was like not paying attention. Everyone was buying him drinks, or I guess he doesn't drink, but whatever. Like
Sure.
buying him
Orange
offerings.
juice. Offerings? We're here
Another glass
getting-
of milk for my friend Ian over there.
Yeah, that's actually in Atlanta. That happened for. I'm from Atlanta, and that used to happen for a couple year period with Andre 3000.
Yeah.
where he would come to hardcore shows and like punk shows and just kind of check it out because he just liked the energy kind of
He's
thing.
so cool. Why is he so much
So
cooler
cool.
than anyone?
And now he goes to the mall here in LA and just plays the flute in the parking lot.
Seriously?
Yeah. This guy has.
Sounds like a made up thing. Wow.
No, he's known to pop up with his flute and just begin wailing on that thing. I saw him once at the popular mall here called The Grove. So you've got Ian MacKay. Chris has Andre 3000. Here in LA, it's like our version of that is like Andy Dick will show up to your show and like rape someone and then piss in the corner. So
It's
you
not
guys
quite-
have cool stuff.
It's a lot
Yeah,
cooler.
can you stop that from happening? Is there
The
a way
police
to,
have been trying
put
for
a sign?
decades.
Yeah.
Like wanted Andy Dick kind of situation?
Yeah, he is.
The talent agents of Hollywood have done it, but the police is still trying to kind of catch up to that. I think. You know what I
He's
mean?
been deplatformed on social media, but the police can't catch him. He's a slippery little guy.
Like a greased up pig at the county fair.
Like a
He
greased
really
up
is.
hog. Try and catch
What
him.
a freak! I haven't thought about him in a long time. Actually, he used to be because he was on TV quite a lot for a little while because he would do
They
those
would
VH1
not stop
shows.
putting him on TV. Why did they keep letting that happen?
Maybe he had some Epstein dirt on Hollywood.
Exactly.
That's
I mean,
like somebody owed his agent was owed favors by like enough people that it
Yeah.
generated a career for a while.
I feel like Andy, because of his drug use and his philandering, he's probably seen some shit,
Yeah.
incriminating things.
That's a good point.
And he's like, I don't remember anything last night, but I remember you did blah, 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 Tom Cruise. And he's like, Andy, whatever you want. I'm so
bro,
sorry.
Andy, we'll get you on that VH1 reality show.
Let's get you a Christmas special and just like forget this all ever happened. Put this whole thing behind us.
Yeah, exactly. We need an Andy Dick Christmas special is exactly what we need. That's a great idea. You're part of the
I think I'm
problem.
the only Andy Dick sympathizer in this town. I don't know why he tickles me.
Andy Dick sympathizer.
What is he famous for? Like news radio or something? Wasn't he on he was on like a real show and was
Yeah,
like,
he was on news radio. He was on a bunch of shows, but like comedy wise, he's like a talented comedian. He just has fallen by the wayside. Like he's like the real heads really appreciate him. Like a Louis C.K. perhaps. A comedian's comedian.
so he got his start in the comedy biz and then made it onto TV, the classic pipeline.
of yore.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. You're right.
What happens now? Just nothing. Nothing happens. Nothing good
There's
happens.
there's no more TV shows.
Right.
So like there's no like sitcoms where a comedian
Yeah.
is there. Or at least there hasn't been since I can remember.
You know what? Yeah, the old school where like Joe Rogan was on a TV show just being like, the foil a little bit, and it was a minor role. I think now you just get 3 Netflix specials for $10 million and you have TikTok, and then you're kind of good to go.
It sounds like shit.
It does sound like shit. I agree with you.
No, it sounds, I mean, like, I think going to do like a NBC sitcom every day where you can't say anything you want and there's a laugh track and you have a kid there and the grandma there, and it's like, that sounds like shit. I'd rather get 10 million to do exactly what I was already doing before.
I don't think you realize how much money you make when you're on a sitcom.
How much money you used to make if you go to sitcom, if you go into syndication.
I think that sitcom pay is still more, even if you don't go into syndication, I think it's really, really crazy bread.
That's because you're old and you're going on like a system that is a little more outdated, Chris.
Of course.
I pay more attention to the media landscape than you.
Yeah, no, that's
well, contemporary, of course. You have the 80s, 90s really down though with the CAA books and stuff.
Yeah, thank you. The CAA book is great. I recommend it this holiday season. That's fine.
I recommend it every year.
I recommend it every year. Well, you have a book I guess we should recommend as well, don't you?
We'll see.
Legally, you do have to recommend my book because I'm here. So, it's called Tacky. It's an essay collection about things like Creed and the Cheesecake Factory. So exclusively really good things.
Okay.
Yeah, well, luckily for you, I'm a big Creed guy and Jason's a big Cheesecake Factory guy. So you kind of found your home here at How Long Gone.
You can zig or zag and you'll be right home here, Rax. So let's get into Creed first and then we'll move on to the cheesecake.
Okay.
I'm not a Creed hater, but I wouldn't say I'm a Creed lover. I've heard you speak a little bit about Creed, just like, the music stands up the test of time. Scott, the lead singer, is a Jesus-like character that's a little more handsome than we all realized. They have a positive message without, being terribly cheesy. The Christian undertones are somehow digestible.
That's about the shape of things. I mean, my point is mostly it's not so much like you have to like Creed. Like I don't think that's true.
Of course.
But I do think that the fervor that people once reserved for hating Creed was a little suspect and over the top, and I never really believed that people hated them that much. I think, you're trying to say something else when you say that this band is not even worth consideration.
If you go out of your way to poo-poo Creed, what do you think that is actually saying when you're doing that?
I think it's the same way that people act like Florida is this this special hotbed of awfulness, and really it's just it's just a place, and a lot of people live there, and it's a lot of different places depending on where you are and who you are in Florida. And I think Creed is like the Florida of nu metal bands.
Oh, and nu metal is the Florida of music.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Creed has a few Miami songs.
Sure, yeah.
But they also got a few Fort Lauderdale songs. They also got a few,
I think it's mostly Tampa.
It's a lot of Tampa. It's a lot. I was going to say.
The bulk of their catalog, sure, is Tampa based.
It's downtown Ybor City, if you will. You know what I mean? I don't know how much you've been to Florida.
I'm Jewish. I've been to Florida all the time.
I've been dying to go to Florida. As soon as Art Basel finished, it's in my bones. I got to get down there and do some roller skating. But sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I think that you're absolutely right about this. Like, doth protest too much kind of energy to this whole thing. But I also think when you look just at chart position alone, these motherfuckers were beloved if you base it on popularity and like sales. Like they had a real moment there for a while. And what he's turned into is also
a factor that I don't factor, but go ahead.
Is pretty cool. You know what I mean? He's really like, he looks insane, like full Botox guy, like the whole shit. Like looks.
Yes. Okay. So if we're going to go there,
we are.
In 2014. Yeah. Let's dive in. In 2014, I was futzing around online as you do. And an event made itself known to me. And that event was Scott Stapp of Creed performing live at the New Jersey Vape Expo. Shit! And I wanted to go so bad. And I'm kicking myself to this day I didn't go to that, because that must have been a crazy fucking event. He was like, this was when he was like making these Facebook videos saying that the CIA was stalking him and talking about like he wrote a song for the Miami Marlins. He was just like really in his blue period.
It's so sick. It's so sick.
It's such a good song.
Scott was in his fucking bag. Scott was in his fucking bag in 2014.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what he was born to do.
So I didn't know that he went a little down a troubled path with the CIA and stuff like that. The vape stuff checks
Well,
out.
Jason,
And
have you
also-
ever used methamphetamine like a lot? Because it kind of, you kind of get in your zone a little bit.
So was meth to blame for this behavior?
I don't know.
He was, I don't think meth. He wasn't sober, and now he is. And he
Oh.
also had not yet been diagnosed with bipolar, which now he's on medication for. So it was a real dark period, like in a not that funny way, actually. I mean, obviously in a very funny way, but also it's, when you look at this as something that's actually happening to a real person who like has a family, it's like, it's not that cool to shit on this guy.
It's a crossroads of a lot of bad things happening to a person at one time.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
they were also like really famous, and it was one of those bands that was completely faceless except for him. It could have been anyone playing
Right.
those other instruments, like no one knows anything about them.
I don't know what their names are, and I'm a Creed fan.
I'm a fan. I don't know that. I mean, but yeah, I think that that time period, but this to me is also similar to the Woodstock documentary that we talked, that came out a little while ago, where all those bands were just like so big. But I don't know if like hating Limp Bizkit was a personality trait in the same way that hating Creed was. It was like, I hate this, and that defines me more than what I like, which is a very strange conundrum to put yourself in.
Well, that is an interesting point, because I was a Limp Bizkit hater because I hated the type of people who were Limp Bizkit fans, because those were the people like I would go to high school with, and those were like the shitty people that I didn't like. They seemed like assholes. They seemed like pieces of shit. So their music was not for me. I had a similar issue with Sublime as well, growing up in Orange County. But a Creed fan, it's kind of hard to distinguish them as like a certain type of person, maybe because their reach was so wide. Moms are liking them, little kids are liking them. They didn't have like a certain type, because I don't know how nu metal they were.
Because I would agree that they were a little outside. They were like a little bit outside of the core,
on the ambiguous side of things.
Yeah, and I think that that was a big reason that they became so easy to hate. I mean, as we've said, they were crazy, stupid, popular, like multi-platinum, selling out arenas.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people who seemed to be giving the directive to dislike them were, I mean, let's just call them like professional intellectual types, like critics and writers.
Thank you. People like myself, yes. Professional
People basically
intellectual.
identical to me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. People that I relate to a lot.
Right.
High thinkers, stuff like that. Okay. People who enjoy Fugazi.
But it ends up being this dichotomy of sorts between like people giving the directive to despise this band, not ever giving any real reason, just saying like this band is bad because it's bad, and then the millions
Classic.
of people who
Like
them because it's easy to like. It's not hard on the brain. Creed.
No, and I love smooth brain music from time to time, and that's something. Jason likes things that are a little more challenging, but
I like to be challenged by the arts, but
I do not.
that's a conversation.
I will not sit here and be challenged by a fucking painting.
yeah, that's right. I'm gonna stare that painting in the face, and I'm gonna fucking get it. I'm gonna get it quick.
I'm gonna know what's in that painting.
I think that era though is just really, because we talked about on some recent episodes like the kind of Bloghouse era, because we had our friend on who wrote a book about Bloghouse, and it was probably one of the worst dressed eras of all time that we lived through, if not the worst. And I think that mercifully the Creed Limp Bizkit era was a little bit like, it was uglier, but it was in a mass way. I think it was like that's what the world looked like at the time.
Right.
Whereas I think Bloghouse was more of a microcosm of what things were going on.
When my book came out, I had a book release party for it that was like early 2000s themed.
Okay.
So I was Googling, early 2000s style, early 2000s makeup,
sorry.
trying to get my outfit together. And every single thing that I found was, it would be a slideshow of iconic looks, and it would begin with, now, the early 2000s weren't a very good time for fashion, style, and makeup.
yeah.
Everybody looked like dog shit, and, fair enough, we all did, but I think it's kind of telling that it was such noisy dog shit. Like, everything was so metallic.
Yeah.
Snakeskin, and, like, the pants had a million belts hanging off the back of them. Like, nothing was quiet or easy to overlook.
I like noisy dog shit.
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
So I guess, is this the reason why you chose this theme? Because your book is called Tacky? This is the epitome of tackiness? Or is it like, can you be campy? Can you be tacky and camp?
I thought about this. No, I don't think so. I think that the difference is that Tacky is like camp that's embarrassed of itself. Like the whole thing with camp is that you take something that you think is bad and you declare that it's actually so bad it's good. It's so over the top. It's so bad that it circles back around on itself. And I think Tacky, not so much. That moment never came with something like Creed.
The tackiness is ignorant of its own tackiness, whereas the camp realizes it, so it's okay.
Right.
There's a little more fun there. Yeah, I think that's true.
Damn. Okay. So what exactly was the what look did you land on for this early 2000s tacky party?
I had a Von Dutch hat. That was a big element of my look. And I had a big old belt.
Was it original dead stock Von Dutch hat from your archives, or this is a newer reissue?
No, a friend of mine made it for me. It says Tacky on the front,
Oh.
and I think it's just like an Amazon Von Dutch hat.
A Von Dutch style hat, but custom.
Yeah, after the manner of Von Dutch.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. We don't want you to get sued or anything. Thank
And
you
you
for
said a
clarifying.
large belt. Von Dutch, they're very Christian Audige is very litigious. You should watch out for him.
That that was the big thing for women, was like a giant belt for no reason.
How many inches wide are we talking, girl?
A couple to 3 or 4.
Okay.
It was like a micropenis belt.
If you were to lay your micro meat out on it, it would be a perfect size.
It would just cover, yeah.
Damn. That's a great descriptor for a belt. That really.
You should be an authoress because you sure can paint a picture, Rax.
Yeah, you really.
That's how I measure everything, is in micropenis units.
Yeah, it's new. I don't understand the metric system, but this I understand.
It's instinctive.
Yeah, you're making it really easy for both of us to understand.
Use what you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this party, did everybody have to dress in the theme, or was it kind of you leading the charge?
Not everybody had to. Pretty much everyone did. I mean, it would have been very horrible if I was the only one.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
really not into, I'm just not into themes, but I feel like this is very appropriate. You know what I mean? I feel like I get it that you kind of had to, but I mean, I feel like we're probably, of a similar age generally. So I think we really lived this once in a way that we deeply understand it. So it wouldn't even be hard.
Right.
It wouldn't be hard
But
to.
Chris, you're more of a Grinchy fella, so I can't really imagine you ever dressing up for a themed party.
Have you ever dressed up for a theme party?
Probably, yeah.
I don't like to do it myself. I don't really like
It's not something I like to do.
themes for parties. It's a little try hard. The theme of the party is that it's a party.
Looking hot, getting fucked up. That's what you do at a party.
Yeah, there's no. It doesn't matter what clothing I'm wearing, and that for the.
Get the micro out.
Yeah. That's a
Get
party.
the straw out. Get the razor blade out. We're doing it.
I throw the micro around the waist, and I'm ready to hit the town, baby.
Okay, so how many people got COVID at your party?
I'd like to say 0.
Of course you'd like to say, but what's the real number?
I'd like to, and I'm going to, because nobody got in touch with me after.
May they rest in peace.
Your hands are clean.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that if anyone got COVID, they had the good courtesy to die and not leave me to deal with
That's
it.
perfect. I was so worried about calling you and telling you. I just died. I just literally died. I had to die to get this off my chest.
It's just good
Have the
manners.
decency.
Don't tell me you got a disease at my party. I don't want to know about that shit. That's your
the
problem.
decency.
That's between you and your God.
the decency to die.
Okay, so we're both in LA right now, and my life partner was just in New York, and she was saying it's COVID crazy over there in New York. We need boots on the ground scene report. What's going on?
She's right. It is
That's
COVID
it. That's
crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking wild out here, guys. That's it.
Yeah, it's like almost, I'm not going to say almost everybody, but so many people that I know have turned up this past week, like with positive COVID diagnoses. And I just took a test today and I don't have it, thank God. But
And thank you for doing that. We make all of our guests test before we do the show.
Even though it's virtual.
appreciate
that. Yeah.
Because I actually have never tested. That's kind of my whole thing. It's like if I don't know, then I don't have it, is kind of my outlook. And I some people have a problem with that, but it seems kind of like a modern.
That's been his outlook for a lot of different diseases through the years.
So it seems good for now, but I guess if they force me to take one, maybe I'll get some answers I don't want,
You might. And, when you do the at-home ones, it makes you wait for 15 minutes between sticking the thing up your nose and knowing whether you're about to die.
Yeah.
And that's a really bad 15 minutes. I was sitting there this morning. I had my test in front of me. I was watching my Planet Earth, and it was all just like wildebeest massacres and shit. And I kept saying, this is a bad omen for 15 minutes.
Wow. The last time I did mine, I like probably did the dishes, something like that, folded some laundry, but you were watching Planet Earth wildebeests.
I mean, that's what I'm doing at any given time anyway. It's not like I had my Planet Earth set up specifically to be mood music for my COVID test, but yeah.
So a lot of people will have ambient TV on in the background, Seinfeld, Friends, stuff like that. You're more of an Earth girl?
I like because I don't watch TV, I scroll my phone and the TV's on. But I like when I look up from my phone and there's a guy in front of me, some kind of like cow or whatever.
A guy. Yeah, I just love seeing guys on the tube. You know what I'm saying, fellas?
Just a fella, yeah.
Some kind of male animal in all his majesty.
Yeah, all animals are boys. That's like rule one. Anytime I see an animal, I think it's a boy.
I agree with you, and I hate to gender animals, but I have to. I agree with you.
It's got to be done.
It's an instinct that I cannot control. I've never watched one of those shows in my life, which is kind of crazy because I used to smoke weed every day for 15 years.
That's what I do. That's why I watch them.
That was my follow-up question.
I've never watched one before. You know what it is? I think the 4K definition is too much. It's too far. It's too realistic. I want things a little...
That's how I feel about the ones with the ocean. I don't need to know in that much detail what's going on at the bottom of the ocean. They would have told me by now.
It's too fuzzy.
It's too crispy.
Yeah, it's too crispy.
It's so
Maybe you guys need to get some shittier TVs. That's going to be a cool new underground movement.
Yeah, it's like a VHS.
We're not doing 4K. We're doing 1K.
Yeah, we're going all the way back. No, I just can't watch that stuff. And it seems... It's like it's the Beatles die. It's like never ending, right? There's just hours and hours and hours of it.
That's kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You never want to see the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. And they keep wheeling out David Attenborough. I think that's just what he does now is he narrates the goings on of the guys in the wild.
That's a good gig.
And he like observes them and makes catty remarks sometimes.
He's the Joe Rogan of nature. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I can make catty remarks about anything. I can't. How come I'm making less money than this David guy? This is bullshit.
Yeah. He's a knight too. You're not a knight.
You're not a knight, Chris.
That I know of.
Man, fuck both y'all. Yeah, you don't know nothing about me. You don't know shit about me. Okay.
Yeah, his voice is just so perfect, though.
It is. It's soothing and it's beautiful. And then once in a while he'll say something like sarcastic, and it throws me because I'm just like, who the fuck are you, Sir David Attenborough?
This kid's got claws. I mean, he can with a voice like that, he can talk me right out of my true religions. Okay, so you're a known scroller, looking at your phone while you're watching, quote unquote, watching TV. Do you do this solo or do you also do it with friends?
Sometimes it'll be a social thing. There'll be a bunch of us all on our phones, not speaking to each other. That's how I like to socialize.
Smart.
Probably not good for anybody, but that's how it's done.
That's how everyone socializes.
You just have to see people, because otherwise you're a loser or whatever, but you don't want to speak. I'm not going to go through the trauma of speaking to my friends.
You're not going to ask somebody, how are they? But it's good to breathe the same Omicron air and scroll together just in case.
Right, you got to get all your friends together just to, transmit COVID in case anybody doesn't have it.
It's the responsible thing to
I'm
do.
as a big... Jason, are you the one that called me the Golden State Scroller?
I did.
Yeah, which is...
Sounds like a serial killer.
It's named after the Golden State Killer, which is a famous thing going on, and Jason called me the Golden State Scroller, which is something that I take pride in, because I kind of try to one-up myself every week on screen time.
Much like a serial killer, your total death count is a number that you keep an eye on.
Yeah, exactly.
You're always trying to see how you can improve that score, your batting average, your stabbing average, whatever it may be. And same for Chris.
Yeah, I'm constantly trying to improve myself, and by that it means spending more time on my cellular telephone.
The amount of angry birds that come across his iPhone every day, it would make your head spin. But speaking of angry birds, let's get into the cuisine of Cheesecake Factory. I was just there last week at the Grove, the very same mall where I saw Andre 3000, known flautist.
Flouting.
Sounds like a glamorous place.
It has its ups and downs. But I was never really a cheese head. I just kind of thought of it as, bad food for bad people. Normal, creative restaurants. I see you grimacing, of course. This has a I'll turn it around. But because of my life partner's love of Cheesecake Factory her whole life, she had to show me, let me show you my factory. And now I see, it's just like, someone comes to LA, someone goes to Florida. Yeah. This place is a fucking shithole. Yeah. But then if you're dialed in, you got your guy with the Lamborghini. Let me get you a cafecito. That's the Coke guy. Here's where you get empanada, whatever. Then you're like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Same thing for cheesecake.
Yeah, you need a concierge.
You need a concierge. You need somebody to shepherd you. Because that menu is large, right?
Yeah, the menu is,
biblical.
If I didn't already know what I was getting every time I went to a Cheesecake Factory, I would stop right there. It's too scary.
Well, that brings me to another point is my life partner does the same thing where it's like, oh, scan the menu, here's the menu, clunk it down, and she's like, that won't be necessary. Kind of like how Chris, when he goes to Mr. Chow's, it's considered uncouth to ask for a menu, right?
I would never ask for a menu. I mean,
a fool would do that.
They offer it to you, but if you accept it, you're a known newbie. And nothing is worse than being a newbie.
You're treated poorly, spitting in the food, as if the food could get any worse. It's like going to a omakase sushi restaurant and asking for French fries and a California roll or something like that.
This is why I never go anywhere. I don't know the rules of any
There's
place.
A lot of rules. I've never been to Cheesecake Factory my entire life.
Really?
No, never. And I'm going to try to, I think I can make that last probably forever. It's not really up my street, but I do think it seems like a really, a place that really delivers on the American promise of portions. Am I?
Oh, yes.
Am I wrong to assume that? Are the portions large and in charge?
Astronomical. Yeah. You should get like 3 meals out of your Cheesecake Factory order.
So when you get the Alfredo, it's Big Mama size. This is for the family.
Yeah. It's, that's something that I actually refuse to get just because when they plunk that plate down in front of you, it like makes a sound, like it lands.
A thud.
And then you just confront the reality of the amount of fettuccine Alfredo that you've just like contracted with yourself to eat. And I can't do that. That's too depressing of a dish to eat like 3 of in a row.
No, it's too much white food, which is something we gotta, you know what I mean? Like I don't like to make this about race, but white foods, I can't think of that many that I'm interested in eating 3 portions of. But I mean,
no.
If I were trying to, let's say I'm trying to eat clean. I'm on my workout swag. What am I getting at? What at Cheesecake?
Chris, they have a whole chapter, the New Testament of the menu, that's called Skinny-licious. There are dozens of items, food, cocktails, apps, desserts, all from the Skinny-licious menu.
A lot of their dishes, like the name of the dish is copyrighted, which I think should say something about what you're in for.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess a Skinny-licious to me sounds like more of a branding opportunity than an honest statement about what's on that portion of the menu.
The Skinny-licious branding is a direct reaction to when chain restaurants had to list the amount of calories on each menu item because Cheesecake Factory, if you look at the menu items and the corresponding calorie counts, it's one of the more upsetting things. And I think that's the main reason why Rax and my life partner choose not to look at the menu and have their items memorized, because one slice of carrot cake is 1,720 calories.
Yeah, there's not a single thing on that menu that is less than your recommended caloric intake for the entire day. Like everything is about a day and a half's worth of eating.
Yeah.
It's
true. There are multiple salads on the menu that clock in well over 2,000 calories.
So can you explain to me like how you get yourself psyched up to go there? I mean,
it's less of a psych. It involves more depression than psych.
You don't go to the Cheesecake Factory. You end up at the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. But the
life flushes you down a toilet and you suddenly are in
you
the
say that, but Jason, I know this from talking to you, and I'm sure it's true in New York, Rax, but it's like, it's like hard to get a table.
It is.
Like it's like hard to go.
It's very hard.
So is it?
It turns out a lot of people are depressed in America.
No, but I'm saying, so if you go, I guess what I'm saying is you go on a Friday night, 7:30, is the mix of people there like people like you who are doing this for kicks once every couple months, or is it lifers? Like what's the split between this is a nice restaurant for my family? Or like, hey, we're having a laugh.
I'll let you answer, but Rex, it's just like a Creed audience. There's a little bit of everything.
I think that's right. I mean, there are a lot of people like, because Cheesecake Factory sits on a weird like balance of traits about itself. So like it's fancy. When you go in there, it reads as fancy.
Yeah.
But it's not super expensive. So it's a place where people go to like celebrate, people who don't go to restaurants that often. It's like a special occasion place. But it's also like gaudy enough that people who do have plenty of money and go to restaurants all the time, they still think it's fun to like hang out at the Cheesecake Factory because it's so gaudy and because like Kris Jenner is really into it and shit like that. And it's, you know...
Well, now, hold on. Now I'm turning around. Now, hold on. Now you finally said something that's attracting me to this
Kris
fucking
Jenner.
gout place. Yeah, this gout emporium.
I think it appeals to that kind of animal lizard brain that we have where we all want to have some of that basic person comfort level.
Yeah.
Where like every month or so, a month or 2 months...
Every month or so, or maybe every bi-weekly. I don't know. I
Whenever
mean, it
you
depends.
get your period, you should also go to the Cheesecake Factory.
I didn't want to do a menstrual reference, but of course I wanted to, but we're not that close to really make those types of sexist jokes just quite yet. It's kind of like, you know what? I killed it this month. I've been eating very healthy and working out a bunch. And sometimes you just want to say, fuck it. I'm just going to eat spinach artichoke dip, French fries with ranch, a margarita, and a slice of like Oreo cheesecake.
Bro.
And you just do it and you love it. You enjoy it. You're not down on yourself.
Did you eat the bread when you went? Did you get like some baskets of bread?
The bread is the best part.
The bread is reason enough to go.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not kidding you. Jason goes pretty often. He's not putting on like they go. I would say you go once every couple months, right, Jason?
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend and one of our mutual friends, this girl Emily, they like to do kind of like normal people role play, I guess, like where they normally live sort of like more luxurious lifestyles, designer clothing and chic restaurants and things like that. But their childhood, you know, is deeply embedded in that Cheesecake Factory. So there's a lot of like warm nostalgia that you feel entering there. And also like a big part of it to me is like the service level where you go to all these like, you know, Brooklyn hipster restaurants or all these spots in LA and the service is kind of shit. You have an aspiring actor, waiter, server person that is not very good. But at Cheesecake, everyone is just on it. The service is, you know, from the hostess to the janitor, the guy cleaning up the tables, the manager. They're very good. They're very well trained. It's a well-oiled machine, and those are hard to come by nowadays.
So, like, when you go to most restaurants now, in New York and LA anyway, there's this thing that happens at the beginning of your meal where the person waiting on you asks, have you dined with us before? Mm-hmm. And you know it's about to unlock this, like, all this lore and all this, like, procedural shit. And that does not happen at the Cheesecake Factory. They could not give a fuck whether you've been there before. It's so straightforward.
They're like, I work here, you don't.
Yeah.
You tell me food, I bring, you eat, you pay me. That's how restaurants work.
Yeah, it's so easy.
You know what French fries are.
Yeah.
You know what spaghetti is.
I remember having that. Oh, God, yeah. I remember, I say this all the time. What's the restaurant downtown LA that I hate?
What's the restaurant that I hate?
There's so many.
Downtown, Bestia?
Bestia. I went to Bestia, which was like hot restaurant at the time, and I sat down and I ordered a pizza, and they like explained to me that they do pizza a little differently. And I'm just like, fuck you. I'm not gonna eat the pizza from the center out. I don't care if it's like you're out of your fucking minds.
Look, it's pizza. I think I got it under control
That's
once you
what
put
I'm
it in
saying.
front of
Exactly.
me.
Yeah, I've got it. But I think you're right. I think that have you dined with us before? I can't think of a restaurant I've been to, like a real restaurant, quote unquote, that doesn't ask you that. And I have to, what is the point of asking that question?
Because they're prepping you to not get enough food. They know they're about to bring you not enough food, and they want to take the liability off themselves, so they say things like tapas.
They want you to spend more money, basically,
Right.
is what it is. They want you to spend more money. I think you're probably right about it. Jason, do you have a theory, or does that track for you?
No, that does track, but it's also like restaurants like the Cheesecake Factory, they're very straightforward, so there's no explanation. It's a restaurant, you're a customer, that's it.
Sure.
But every restaurant now is like the chef or the owner is like, we're going to do it my special way.
Right.
And if you have been here, then I don't have to spend the next 10 minutes doing the spiel
Right.
that I hate to do, that I do 100 times a night of like the chef wants you to order 3 to 5 small dishes for the table and 4 to 3 mains, and
Yeah.
get everything out, and it's like it's a whole thing. So by the end of it, no one's really enjoying it anymore.
I've worked at those restaurants where I have to give the lore to the new customers. And they become hostile a lot of the time. Your customer is just, I mean, that's kind of me too, because, I would never be hostile to somebody working in a restaurant. But in my head, I'm just like, you motherfucker, just bring me an amount of food where I will eat it and be happy for the rest of the night. I don't want to eat it and be happy now.
I think what has to happen is the server, instead of being like, oh, have you been here before? And you're like, no, it's the first time. And they're like, okay, well, and then they like go into that. At that point, the customer hates it, the server hates it, no one's having a good time. But if the server is like, hey, like, the information I'm about to tell you, this lore is very beneficial, it's important, pay attention because it will help you in this meal. If there's a little bit of that kind of like urgency, or like this is important info that you should take in, then I think everyone will be a little bit happier.
Maybe.
But, good help is just hard to find across the board service-wise.
What kind of restaurants did you work in? Did you work in like fine dining, like high-end kind of vibe, or was it mid-range?
I've worked in all sorts. I worked in restaurants for about 10 years, and I did like coffee shops that only had counter service, and then the last restaurant I worked in was like high-end, prefix, that kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And I will say that overall, working for the corporate chains, all restaurant jobs that I ever had were like very shitty. Working for the corporate chains was better because they can't really get away with much. They've got like inspectors up their ass all the time. They have to report taxes in a real way. And like the mom and pop joint, they do not do any of that shit. They pretend I don't exist when the tax man comes around. It's just really awful.
So if I'm gonna get into the culinary world, I better start at Starbucks.
Yes, that's what my first job was.
I know a lot of people that worked at Starbucks. All my friends that worked at Starbucks worked there because it was easy to steal money. I remember that specifically. And that was a big like really gotten to the point where I think they were running like 2 register, like really in depth, like not taking a 20 off the top. Like we're doing this professionally.
Yeah. And it's very easy to do that even at a low individualized level. You just, slip shit in your pocket. I once stole an entire drawer full of free drink coupons, and I was using them all over town like a heist, like a heist in 1,000 pieces. It was great for me.
So do you ever go back to Starbucks, or are you traumatized?
I never go back to the one that I specifically worked at, and I never will. Even getting off the DC Metro at the same stop as that Starbucks, I don't like to do it.
The train stop is a trigger.
A little bit.
No, I'm with you on that.
She smells the burnt Pike Place roast wafting through the air, and she's just taken back to high school.
That's right.
So what's your Starbucks order?
I usually just get an iced chai. I don't like to get fussy with it.
Iced chai?
Iced chai is you not getting fussy?
Yeah, it's very easy to make. It's like the easiest thing to make because you don't have to pull espresso.
Okay.
So you're thinking of the barista in the situation.
Very selfless.
Well, I do like it. It is what I like to drink, but there are also things I like to drink at Starbucks that are a pain in the ass to make, and I never get them.
Did you make, because I remember I had a friend who would make these crazy, because we were all vegan at the time, he would make these crazy like vegan milkshakes almost.
Yeah.
That he patented like an off menu, that would cost $14 if you ordered it because there's so much shit in it. Are people's orders really as crazy as like it comes off in the world?
I had one guy who he had a drink. It was in a venti cup, a large cup, and it was 14 pumps of chai syrup, 10 pumps of vanilla syrup, heavy whipping cream, steamed. It was hot. And then with whipped cream on the top. And he called it his chai pudding, and he drank one a day, and the whole thing has to have been like 5,000 calories. It grossed me out even to make it.
One a day?
Yeah, one a day.
So there was no coffee in this at all?
None.
Did this guy have to get wheeled in, or was he like a normal?
No, he was he was a yoga instructor, I think. His name was Mike. I will never forget that his name was Mike, or that he had chai pudding. Nobody liked to make it.
You remember how much this beverage cost?
Fuck, I don't. It was like 20. It was in the $20-ish range. It was a lot. It was like his treat for the day. He would come in.
Sure.
He was very friendly, but he would also like stand over the person making it and like observe and give notes.
Yeah.
11, 12,
Yeah, exactly.
14. Okay, now the vanilla.
He would call you out if you didn't do the syrup count right. And, he was a nice guy, but he was a pain in the ass. Nobody liked to make his drink because it was so disgusting to handle. It weighed like 1.5 pounds. It was such a weighty thing.
That's so I guess I like things
cool.
my way, but for I would never make it that hard on people.
No.
Like I guess I don't have that experimental or that disgusting of a palate where I need something to be so specific
Right.
that I'm going to make your life a problem if it's not done correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, like, any one person doing shit like that is not really a big deal, but when you have a line of, like, 20 people in a row and they all want you to do something a little bit differently, it sucks. It's annoying.
But why do you think Starbucks, do you think they encourage the customization, or do you think they're implicit?
Oh, yeah, they absolutely encourage it. That was the whole thing when Starbucks first became real popular, right? Was because it was like Starbucks versus, like, gas station coffee. And at the time, Starbucks was like the fancy option. I mean, that's not really the case anymore. It's kind of basic now.
Sure.
But it was like crazy expensive and they had to justify it. And so they would allow you to get weird with it. You could change the milk that you were getting or the number of syrup pumps in something. You could get whipped cream when there wasn't supposed to be any. And, they would encourage this stuff tacitly. And of course, they charge you extra for making all these customizations.
The Starbucks iced soy latte, unsweetened, is already so sweet, Like the soy milk has a fuckload of sugar in it. Whenever I drink just an unsweetened drink from Starbucks, it's already so sweet to begin with. And I think that's what's wrong with America.
I mean, it's coffee for the American palate. Like, I do think that's true because Americans are so used to there being ambient sugar in absolutely everything.
Ambient sugar is a great way to put it.
Their whole marketing deal was to act kind of tacitly Italian. Like, they would just kind of make up fake Italian names for stuff. And, it was like they were putting on a Mario accent, but like, really, it's so American.
I mean, I think that's the thing. If you stand in line at Starbucks, eight of 10 people order things without coffee in them, or at least a small amount of coffee, if that. So I think it's like, that's what the business
I'm getting my
is,
unicorn
really.
milk for the kids. It's blue, blue with purple sprinkles. Well, back to cheesecake. Couple things. One theory of mine and one question. So I have a theory that for many restaurants, almost all restaurants, that it is a safer bet and you'll be happier if you never order a main course dish. If you only order an assortment of appetizers. And I feel like Cheesecake Factory is like the prime example of that, where like whatever dish you get, like if you order a steak and mashed potatoes at Cheesecake Factory, it's going to be a bummer. Right. But like all the appetizers are parfait. So do you agree with this?
Yeah, wholeheartedly.
Having worked in restaurants as well.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it is because I've worked in restaurants, or maybe I just love to eat food that is fried. But I've been trying to pitch around this article for months, by the way. I want to write something about how appetizers are the best foods and side dishes. Apps and sides are the best. Main courses are always a step down every time because it's like, the point of it is to be the protein and to be filling in a legitimate way. And that's kind of not congruous with the goal of tasting as good as possible. Appetizers are always deep fried or they're covered in a layer of melted cheese.
They're appetizing.
They are so appetizing.
And also they're often a third of the price of the main dish. So you're able to diversify and hedge your bets. You can get 3 apps if 2 out of 3 are good.
Right.
If you order one main dish and it sucks, then you're batting a 0. It's just so risky.
No, I think that's right. I mean, I say that's right, and at the same time, I realize that I just said I think it's annoying when the server has to be like, you should get 3 to 5 such and such. And
But a server never says you should never order any of our expensive main course dishes. Just get a bunch of little apps. You'll be much happier.
Right.
Yeah, that would be problematic, I think, for the server. I feel like their job is
to make all the
jeopardy.
money. Follow-up question. What's your order at Cheesecake? From front to back, tip to tail.
Tip to tail. Okay. I like to start proceedings with a mojito. Really, any of their, any sugary cocktail is good because they give you huge glasses of everything.
Regular, not Skinnylicious.
No skinny. I don't go Skinnylicious ever. I don't think that would taste so good.
Okay. That's kind of true, yes.
I just, you want the maximum amount of butter. I'm in a fucking restaurant. Like, give me the butter.
I'm in Cheesecake Factory. I'm here for the Cheesecake Factory.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so mojito.
Okay, so mojito.
Full fat mojito.
Then I like, full fat mojito, full sugar, all that. I like the avocado egg rolls, even though they are not of any identifiable ethnicity. That's fine. I just think they taste incredible.
Never had them.
Sure.
Try it next time.
You should. And
I'm not a warm avocado girl, but I
no, me neither.
Okay, good. Okay.
I don't like cooked avocado, but it's like raw avocado inside of a egg roll wrapper. It's nice.
Okay.
And for my main course, I like to get the Louisiana chicken pasta.
Oh, yes. Louisiana chicken pasta.
Yeah, I don't say it like that. I just say it normal.
Try it. What is normal? What is the normal way to say Louisiana? You know what I mean?
You're not having enough fun, is what I hear.
I'm not having that much fun. I didn't know it was possible to have so much fun when I order food.
Egg roll straight into Cajun Bayou pasta.
Yes.
Okay.
I like to make fusion in my stomach. I like, not in the same dish, but as courses follow each other. And I have to take home most of that.
Yeah, okay.
They give you like 2 massive chicken patties. I always have to save at least 1 full chicken patty, which is good because, more food. I like to get more bang for my buck or whatever.
So you eat about a third of this, perhaps?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
And for my dessert, I have to go with the Adam's peanut butter fudge ripple cheesecake.
Oh, shit.
I don't know who Adam is.
Who the fuck is Adam?
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Yeah,
I was
that's
about to
fine.
ask.
Peanut butter ripple cheesecake.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I'm a peanut butter guy.
Most of their other ones are too sweet for me. The peanut butter is kind of salty, so that's nice.
Jason, just quickly, how does that compare to yours, like calorically?
That's pretty on point with what we normally order. I like to get the roadside sliders. If you ever get some of those, add cheese, of course. But I mean, yeah, every restaurant I ever go to, nothing is as enjoyable to me as the bread and butter, and cheesecake is probably...
Theirs is the best, I think. They have the best bread and butter of, like, any place. I've tried to make the brown bread at home, but it never comes out quite right.
I have made it at home, and it came out close-ish, but you're never going to get it because you have to have that, like, chemical... laden ingredient list that because if you make it at home with
flour and sugar
with like flour and sugar, exactly,
yeah,
and not just high fructose Exxon Valdez oil spill,
yeah, exactly,
ground up cardboard. It just tastes better. You want to taste the plastic,
yeah,
you need some
microfibers of plastic in there. It just makes it all happen.
Yeah, the microfibers.
I love microfiber in my cleaning cloths as well as my bread before I start my meal. Thanks.
Okay,
Jason.
so Tacky is all of this and more. These are a collection of essays on all of these specific things that are considered Tacky. What are a couple other ones to throw out to wet my whistle?
Your whistle, early aughts hot topic, and the mall in general. The mall comes up. The 2001 live action Josie and the Pussycats.
A fine film. That's when a girl became a woman.
Deep cuts.
You went in.
Yeah, I've got some deep cuts. And Meatloaf, the performer, not the food.
I almost ordered meatloaf from Cheesecake when I was there last time, and the waiter was like,
"It's good. I have had it before. It's pretty good."
I should have done it.
You guys are both fucking gross. Rax King. Rax King, thank you for joining us. Tacky is in stores wherever you get books, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. Congratulations on that. And where can people find you on the World Wide Web?
You can find me at patreon.com/RaxKingIsDead. That's my handle on Twitter as well. And if you don't know how to read, you can also listen to my podcast, Low Culture Boil.
Just like a Louisiana Cajun pasta dish.
Exactly. She's a Louisiana Rax. Yeah, thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you soon. I'll email you.